Hey guys, my name's Dave, this is Custom Spray Mods, and in this video I'm going to be painting these two panels the exact same colour, but I'm painting one using only aerosol cans and another one using only a spray gun. I'm going to go through the primer, the colour, the clear, how to set up the gun, how to apply the paint, techniques, products, everything, all that and more on this episode of Custom Spray Mods. Let's do it.
Tough one. Put my glasses on. Well, they both look good. Is it a trick or
No.
They're both shiny. I don't see no tiger stripes, no dry spots.
I'm kind of now changing towards that being a spray gun and that a spray can.
I honestly think they look very similar, but I'm going to still go with left. No, right. Right's with the spray gun, I think, now that I look at it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go right with the spray gun, left with the pressure pack can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to sand them. I'm going to use a sanding sponge. This is just a fine sanding sponge. It's about 400 grit. I mean, there's no repairs on this, so 400 grit is going to be great. I'm going to sand this, then I can put some primer on. Let's do it. Okay, I'm not going to lie, doing it by hand is one way to sand the panel, but I've got a machine sitting right here, so I'm going to use it. This is a dual action, it's an orbital sanding machine. If you have one of these, it's going to make the job a lot easier. Basically, I've put a interface pad, which is this soft Velcro pad. That's going to help just soften the blow a little bit, so we don't get any hard edges from the backing plate. I've got my 400 grit. Now this has dust extraction, which is going to keep the sanding dust to a minimum. I'm just going to keep sanding the panel till it's all scuffed up, then I'll be ready for some primer. Now I'm going to clean it with some wax and grease remover. Just spray on and wipe off. This gets rid of any residue from the sanding process. So the preparation for these two panels is exactly the same. Basically just sand it and clean it and you're ready for the primer. Now I'm ready for the primer. I'm using this spray can of high build quick dry primer. Basically, you just spray all the edges first and then the large areas second, and make sure you overlap quite a bit to get an even finish with that primer. Now that the first coat's all done, I'm waiting 10 minutes, then I'll go again with a second coat. Now depending on if you have repairs or if you don't, this panel does not have any repairs, so 2 or 3 coats is going to be enough. If I did have body filler repairs, I would need to put a few extra coats on just to help level that surface. And I'm noticing already using cans that it hurts your hand. Now I'm going to use the exact same primer, but with a spray gun. So I'm mixing it in a mixing cup using some multi-purpose thinners, and the mixture is 50-50, or you can use a little bit more thinners to help it go down a lot smoother. I'm using a 1.4mm spray gun, and I'm going to just spray the panel, doing the edges first, large areas second, making sure to overlap, get an even coverage so that the primer is down nice and smooth on the panel. Now I've painted the 2 coats of primer with the spray gun, and before it fully dries, I'm just going to spray it with a bit of black paint, and this is going to help me when I start sanding it. This is called a guide coat. Okay, so let's talk about what we've done so far. I sprayed this panel with a can of primer. This panel I sprayed with the exact same primer, but through a spray gun. Now, they both look exactly the same. I've actually put 3 coats with the can and I only needed 2 coats with the gun. So straight away, it's quicker with the gun, it's easier. I've got a much more even coverage, and if I had repairs, the spray gun is going to be a better option because it's going to put more of a build on top of that repair to help level the surface. Whereas a can, if I had repairs, I would have to put a few more extra coats. Now, one thing to get an even finish with the can, I had to do a lot of passes. By passes, I mean going over the panel from left to right. I had to go from left to right quite a bit to make sure that I got an even coverage. Whereas with the gun, because it's got a bigger fan, it was a lot easier to get that even coverage. Now, primer is good, and I recommend using it as a practice. So now I know when I do my color and clear, I'm going to do it the same way, do a lot of passes, good overlapping, and I'm going to get a nice, even finish with my can. Yeah, let's move on. Alrighty, so we need to let these dry, then we can sand them. This particular primer dries really quick, so I can leave it for about an hour, then I can sand it, paint it and clear it. But I'm gonna put some heat on it because it's a bit cold today, so I've got a heater that's gonna make it dry quicker, then I can sand it and paint it. In the meantime, I'm gonna get my color ready. I've picked a color. This is Holden Quicksilver, so it's a silver color. I've got it in a 1 litre tin. Now, at VG Auto Paints, they can mix up your color in any size. We can also put it in a spray can. So we can mix it from a formula or match the color, put it in a can, and you can use it on a job like this. I've already got the color, so I'm going to take the VGs and they're going to put some of this paint into an aerosol can for me so that we can use it on this job. Let's go. Now that I've got my paint sorted, I'm going to sand the primer. I'm using these sanding sponges. These are about 600 grit, and I'm just going to sand the panels until all the guide coat is gone. Now I'm going to clean it with wax and grease remover. Now I'm going to use a tack rag to clean the surface, and this is just a tacky rag that's going to help pick up any bits of dust that's on the panel. Okay, now I'm going to spray my silver base coat. I've got it in a spray can. I'm going to spray all the edges first and then do the large areas last. Now this creates a nice even finish and minimizes any haziness or rough edges. So I've done all those edges. Now I'm going to paint the large area, making sure to overlap more than 50% to try and get an even coverage and minimize any stripes or inconsistency in the base coat finish. Now, a few things to take note when you're painting with spray cans is to do not be too far away from the panel. As you can see, I'm quite close. And also to make sure to paint all the way off the panel. So don't stop painting at the edge, keep painting all the way off to make sure you evenly cover the panel the way it needs to be. Now before I apply my last coat of paint, I'm going to clean it with a tack rag just to get rid of any rough spray or dryness that can affect the clear coat. Also on my last coat, I'm going to turn the nozzle here so that instead of a vertical spray, I'm going to get a horizontal spray out of the can, and then I'm going to go up and down the panel rather than across the panel. Again, this is to minimize any inconsistency in the base coat look. Now after 10 minutes, I'm ready for my clear coat. I'm using an acrylic 1K clear from a can. It's important to have a warm environment. This is going to make the clear go down a lot better. If you can't, then heat up the can or heat up the panel that you're working on. As well, you need to make sure you overlap quite a bit and just apply the paint and don't worry too much about the finish. If you overlap, then the paint is going to level out. It might not look great when it goes down, but as it dries and levels, it's going to bond and melt together and basically give a nice finish. So focus on your passes and focus on overlapping, and the clear will do its job. Okay, now on this panel, I'm going to use a spray gun to paint the base coat and clear coat. Now I'm going to use this Segola 4600. It's a new spray gun with a new air cap designed to lay the base coat down in a certain way that's going to match the original finish of OEM car. So I've got that, and I've also got a clear coat. Now Segola sent me these guns, so I'm going to try them out and see how they go. But I've done videos where I've used a very cheap spray gun, like a $20 spray gun, and compared it to a $700 spray gun, and a lot of people couldn't tell the difference. So yeah, if you're just doing this at home, a one-off job, you don't need an expensive gun like this. You can get a cheap gun and still get a good finish. So yeah, I'm just using these because I got them, but you can use any gun. Just set it up right and have the right technique, and you get a great job. This is the Segola, so yeah, let's use that. Okay, so I'm going to mix up my paint using some base coat reducer. Now, the difference between all the thinners is the way that they dry. So you don't want to use a thinners that dries too quick. Use the dedicated thinners for that purpose. Basically, this is base coat paint, so I'm using base coat reducer. Okay, now it's time to set up the spray gun. The dial at the top here controls the fan, so I'm winding that all the way out. The next one is the fluid. It controls how much paint comes out of the gun. I've gone all the way in, and now I'm winding that 3 full turns out. And that's going to give me enough paint coming through the gun and out the nozzle. Next, we need to set up the air pressure. I've got a gauge here that tells me the pressure. I'm going to set that to about 30 psi, and that is in the green part of the dial. Some dials have this image, otherwise go to about 30 psi, and that should be enough for your paint to be atomized correctly. Now I'm going to test the gun. If I pull it halfway, I only get air, so I have to pull it all the way in to get my paint to come out. As you can see, I've got a nice thick fan. It's a huge fan, and that's going to help get a nice even coverage. If you compare that to an aerosol can, the one I used earlier, it's not even half. It's such a small fan from a can, and that's why it's so difficult. But with the gun, it should be nice and easy, making sure we still overlap more than 50%, and we'll get a great finish. I'm ready for base coat now. I'm going to clean it with a tack rag, and then I can get started. Basically, same as before, I'm spraying all the edges first, then I'm spraying the large areas, overlapping more than 50%, making sure it's nice and even. Now it's time to mix up my clear coat. I'm using the cheapest clear I could find. Basically, it's a 2K, so I need to mix the hardener. The mixing ratio is 2:1. So I've mixed that up, and now I'm going to put that in my spray gun and spray that over the job. The same way, all the edges first, large bits second, and I'm going a little bit quicker because this is a vertical surface. I don't want to get runs. My first coat is going to be nice and quick, and I'll take it a bit slower on my second coat. Okay, so I painted this panel using only aerosol cans and this panel using only a spray gun. And the spray gun finish looks a lot better, and it was a lot easier to do the job. The base coat is extremely uniform. The clear coat looks great. I mean, if I bolted this on the car right now, I'd probably just, the job's done. So that is nice and easy and quick. I actually used less paint and it took less time to do the job. Now, the aerosol can job, basically the clear coat is not as glossy and the base coat looks a little bit patchy. Even though I sprayed 5 coats of base coat and I went different directions, I really tried my hardest, but the base coat is just, it's not the same as with a gun. But we can get the clear coat to look better. So right now, I've let this dry for a few days. I'm going to sand it and machine polish it and try and get that clear coat to be as glossy as the 2K finish. Okay, so I've got some 1500 grit sandpaper and a block, got some water. I'm going to spray this with water and give it a good sand. You can use the sandpaper with your hand on any bits that are a bit too hard to get to with the block, also any curved surfaces. Now that it's all sanded, I'm going to use some coarse compound and a woolen pad on a rotary machine polisher. I'm going to just keep polishing until all those sandpaper scratches are gone. Now, sanding with a bit of 2000 and then 3000 is going to make this process a bit easier, but with this pad, it works really well. Now I'm going to do a finishing polish. This is a glaze, it's a step 2 and has a bit of a wax in it. It's just going to give it a bit of extra gloss. Okay, I've painted the 2 panels. One I painted with a spray gun, one I painted with a spray can. Basically, this is a finish straight off the gun. So yeah, it has a little bit of orange peel, but I can sand it and buff it if I wanted to. But off the gun, it looks really good and probably matches the original finish of a car. Now on this side, I've got the spray can panel, and I machine polished it, sanded and machine polished that clear, and it looks amazing. It's nice and flat, super glossy. It actually looks better than the one with the gun. Now, I'm gonna go get some people to come in and have a look, and we can see if they can tell the difference, which was done with a can and which was done with a gun. You guys know, let's see if they can figure it out. All right, so I've got a few guys here to check out these panels. If you can just say which one you think is a spray gun, left or right. So which one do you think is from a spray gun?
I'd say the one from the right is the spray gun.
Yeah, and so the one on the left is from a can?
Yeah, left is can.
Alrighty, now just go to a meter away, have a look again. Now what do you think? Same?
I'm kind of now changing towards that being a spray gun and that a spray can.
Tough one. Put my glasses on. Well, they both look good. Is it a trick or?
No.
They're both shiny. I don't see no tiger stripes, no dry spots. No.
If you had to pick one from a gun.
I'll just say the second one on the right hand side. I'd say that maybe it's the way the light's hitting it, but I'd say
we'll go closer.
now it looks like the opposite way almost. I'd say that's the one. The one on the right is the one of the spray cans.
That's a can.
Yeah, so it's opposite to what I was saying before.
And so, which one do you think is with a gun, the left or the right?
The left.
The left
Yep.
with the gun?
Yeah.
All right, now let's go closer. And now, do you still think that the left one's with a gun or the right one's with a gun?
I honestly think they look very similar, but I'm going to still go with left. No, right. Right's with the spray gun, I think, now that I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go right with the spray gun, left with the pressure pack can.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're wrong. That's with the spray can.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, well there you have it. I painted these 2 panels, and as you can tell, it's very hard to see the difference. So yeah, if you do the job right, you can get an awesome finish no matter what you're using. So that's what this video is all about, just to basically show that you can do it if you know the right way to do it. All this stuff is available from VG Auto Paints online, in our shop. I'll put all the products I used in the description. I'll chuck our website down there. Otherwise, hit the like button, subscribe, check out our Facebooks and TikToks and Instagrams and all that. And thanks heaps for watching. See you next time.